Yes, that's right folks, we have a ton of new gameplay details and a brand new 1-minute trailer for the Iki Island expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm impressed. I mean, Sucker Punch is definitely going with an even more mysterious and darker story this time around, even compared to the one we already have in the game, but we have a ton more information on that, as well as some brand new shots of some of the new armor sets in the brand new DLC, including this cool one right here, and also an official confirmation that new techniques and abilities are also making their way in the new expansion. So let's talk about that and more in this video, and as always, if you enjoy it at any point, it would be super awesome if you left a like on it. But let's begin with the story and the journey, because you thought that you kinda got rid of all of the Mongols. Well, you were kinda wrong. There's still a few of them and they are mostly left on the Iki Island. So according to this brand new PlayStation blog article, Jin's journey begins when he discovers that a mysterious Mongol tribe has gained a foothold on Iki, and they seem to be led by a revered shaman that is known to her followers as the Eagles. So yeah, she is going to be the main baddie, the main villain in the new DLC. By the way, we also have a full reveal of her right here, and she definitely looks badass. If not for anything, it's for that fur armor that she is using, which by the way looks miles away better than the one that the Khan had in the base version of the game. So by the way, this was fully captured on the PlayStation 5 with the next gen upgrades available, which also gives us a small glimpse of what to expect from the next gen upgrade. Like especially some of these fur elements, they definitely look way more dense and way more realistic, but also some of the environmental shots look way better than ever before. And it makes sense now that we take a look at the recent news and the file size discovery that was posted a few days ago. Initially, Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4 only had 30 gigs of size requirement, while on the PlayStation 5 version it is actually double and it is listed as 60 gigs. So between the DLCs, the patches up until today, and even more so the next gen upgrade, the file size essentially doubling means that the game is going to look better than ever, and some of these shots right here are pretty much proof of that. I'm pretty sure that most of these are textures, new improved graphics, but also some of those audio files to take advantage of the new 3D system on the PlayStation 5. So honestly, it just looks really awesome and I'm excited for that. But what I'm even more excited for is what is on Iki Island, because it's not just the new island but also brand new characters. So according to that same blog post, it seems that the semi-fictional version of Iki Island that Sucker Punch is creating provides a stark contrast to Tsushima. It is a wild, lawless land of raiders and criminals scarred by memories of war and fiercely independent. The samurai have not been in control there for decades. So that sounds really interesting. It does seem that Jin, even though he is skilled in his abilities, in order to take down his Mongols, he does have to seek help from a bunch of really unsavory characters to take on and fight the Eagle. The cost is too high. If the Eagle and her tribe subdues Iki and muster the support of its people, Tsushima and the rest of Japan will be in grave danger. And by the way, we did see a bunch of brand new characters that we haven't seen before. We don't really know their names yet, but we do have one that is known, which is Yuriko, because she's been with us in the base game as well. So I'm really glad that she is getting a lot more screen time, as she was one of my favorite characters in the game anyway. So there's going to be more intimate moments, emotional and personal stories about real people struggling to let go of old hatreds and surviving in a time of war, stories about how it feels to be caught between preserving cherished beliefs and defending your home, what it means to be Lord Sakai and what it means to be the ghost. And we will definitely explore a lot more of Jin's past. We see some of the shots right here with him as a kid. He did go to Iki Island in his youth at one point, and we can see him going into some of these caves in his childhood, which honestly sounds awesome. I kind of want to see more of Jin's past and his family and what this means in the context of him changing with the Mongol invasion and whatnot. But enough with that, let's talk more about Iki Island, the new enemy types. I was talking about techniques as well. So it's not just the base version of the game that is filled with action and adventure. Iki Island is going to follow a similar route. So Jin will encounter pirates and smugglers, mad monks and haunted caves. There will even be new legends to hear, and yes, we have official confirmation that new techniques techniques will be learnable, so Jin will have to bring everything he has in terms of skills to defeat his new enemies. Now this gets me really excited, especially that new Legends to Here part, because it kinda indirectly implies that we also get brand new mythical abilities. If you don't know what those are, those were like the super special moves. There were only 4 of them in the game, and you actually had to follow a certain legend kind of quest line in order to acquire them in the first place, but they were so worth it because they were some of the best in the game, some of the highest damage dealing ones, and also some of the most spectacular. Like, yeah, they are definitely really awesome, and I cannot wait to see what Sucker Punch has thought about this time around. There's so many cool abilities that they also came up into Legends mode, so I wonder if they aren't going to add some of the Legends mode techniques back into the base game, maybe upgraded versions of that, or maybe re-implement some of the stuff that they have learned from the Legends mode, since that was the thing that they have done so for the past 8 months or so. But it's not just that, it's also brand new enemies. We know that there's at least one new type of Mongol enemy, which is the Shaman, and at various points in these trailers we do actually have some shots of them. The first one we had right here in the first trailer, it looked something like this, but we didn't see any gameplay of it. Well, we did see a little bit more of an extensive footage right here, and they definitely look way more menacing than even the big brutes that we had in the base game. Like, they seem to be using a completely different new weapon, which is this staff. So this also immediately makes me wonder, are those leaks about a brand new stance being added in the game being true? Because it kinda now makes it seem that they might be true. For every single weapon type in the game we had an appropriate stance that we would switch to, and that would add to the complexity of the game and also kinda a bit of element of strategy. So it makes me wonder if these new enemy types will also correspond with a new stance type for Jin, and if that's the case, how will that look like? Now, speaking of looks, on a final note, let's also talk about new armors in the new DLC, and I've spotted about 3 of them. A couple of them were recolors, but yeah, the first one is at the very beginning of the trailer, which is this yellow and black one right here that looks pretty awesome, really high-end, kind of looks a little bit more noble than Jin is wearing usually. There's like golden elements on it, it looks like really expensive for the time period, and definitely something that he would get from his estate, or maybe, you know, through his clan somehow. The second part is a little bit later in the video, and this actually seems to be a recolor of the same armor. This time around, instead of yellow, we can see it with the colors red and black. So this is probably going to be a recolor that we can get from another one of those dye vendors, or maybe some other kind of way to unlock it. But you know, this was the case in the base game, so I would expect it to be the same in this expansion as well. I think at some point we also saw an upgraded version of it right here when Jin opens the door to these 2 characters. He is seemingly using the same armor, but this time around it has a shoulder pad on to his right side armor. So I think that that's gonna be one of the upgrades that you're going to be able to apply to it by going to one of those blacksmiths and, you know, just providing the special mats that they need. The final one is going to be this one right here, a heavy armor, completely different than the previous one. I kinda see it in the shaman style because, you know, there's shaman Mongols on the island, so maybe it has something to do with that, or maybe something completely different. But man, is this not the coolest armor that we've seen so far, and the bulkiest, because it definitely reaches that high spot right there. And by the way, we have full version of it both from the front as well as from the back here. If you pay attention, and if you pay close attention to that headpiece, it seems to be a really large cone on Jin's head, of course, and also a couple of spikes coming out of it, or maybe horns. I think those are horns. Yeah, they definitely look like horns. So these are just a couple of armors that we've seen so far. Not really sure if there's gonna be more than that. There's of course going to be a lot more details that they will be posting leading to the launch of the game in August, but so far this is the info that they have posted. Totally let me know down below if you're excited for the new update, if you're doing another playthrough for that, and also if you want to stay up to date with the new update, DLC, and everything Ghost of Tsushima related. Definitely make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.